welcome to Le Mans once again here on FT Sport. We've got free practice 3 coverage for you, which is underway. It's been underway for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Already we've got the last 50 minutes or so of coverage to bring you. And currently, let's take you through the live timing leaders. Claudio James in the Ferrari AF Corsa team then leads the way. It's the Hypercars that lead, obviously. And the AF Corsa, led by Robert Kubica at the moment, is in P2. Then the BMW M Team WRT of Van der Linde in the BMW M Hybrid V8. They've done 22 laps. They're in P3 in the pit lane at the moment. The number 5 of the Porsche is in P4 with Matthew Geminet in the car in the Porsche 963. Then in P5, the number 311 of the Cadillac LMP2, and currently right now in the car is Felipe Drugovich, who we saw in Hyperpole qualifying yesterday. And then in P7, the Ferrari AF course with Nicholas Nielsen, the number 50 car in the Ferrari 499P. Then in P8, the Toyota Gazoo car with Brendan Hartley currently in the car. Number 8 is in P8 in the Toyota GR010 Hybrid. Another car in the Toyota GR010. Nick de Vries with the number 7 Toyota team, currently in a P9. Then in P10, the number 15 BMW M Team WRT with Van Thoren there. And again in the BMW Hybrid V8. Then we've got the 2 Cadillac Hertz Team Iota cars with the number 12 and number 38 with Alex Lynn and Sebastian Bordeaux in there. Both cars in the Cadillac V Series .R. And the Porsche number 4 car of Felipe Nasser, another Porsche 963. And then the Alpine of Mick Schumacher, we've just seen gone out the pit lane. Just coming out now, number 36, currently in P14 and in P15, just leaving the pit lane now, is the Aston Martin Thor team, and Alex Riberas is in the car right now in the Aston Martin Valkyrie. The 009 didn't do that well in qualifying for Hyperpole yesterday, did Aston Martin. Not what they would have wanted. We're on board with Mick Schumacher now, who's on the radio. He's been on the radio quite a few times on this lap, coming out of the pit lane on the outlap, and wearing a lovely bright yellow helmet. And in his WEC career, no wins, 3 podiums, his best result, 3rd place. And the best drivers standings finish is P5. Currently leading the categories then, the 51 in the Hypercar, then the Ferrari AF. The 2nd place AF course, the number 83 in the pit lane, as it currently stands, along with the 101 Cadillac WTR, the 99 Proton, and the 35 Alpine. So we've been here since 1:45 PM UK time, and we're into the last 40 minutes of the session, which we see some work going to the 94 car, I believe, in the garage. They'll be fine-tuning the setup. These sessions, it's really worth finding the setup for the race, because once you get into the race, there's only a few minor adjustments you can do, and there's contact between the 51 Ferrari and the, I believe it's the 24 in the GT3 category. just watching the hypercar come. Looks like it just went across. If there was someone at fault for that, it's the 51. Definitely had enough room. Oh, and there's and gone off there by the 51 at the second chicane on the Molson Straight. So it does lead the way in practice, but looking a bit shaky in the last few minutes. In my opinion, the 51 of Collado just went right into the side of the GT3 car. The GT3 got a sandwich, couldn't really do much about it. Can't really back out as well because you're already in a braking zone at that point. So we're on board with Collado as speeds of 273 kilometers are reached just before the overlay goes off the screen, and we let the 51 car go off the Molson Straight for now. So 39 minutes left here in 3 practice 2. So only 2 cars in the pit lane at the moment from what we can see. So category leaders right now in the LMP2 category, the 29 leading there. And later today we've got Hyperpole qualifying for all classes. That gets underway at 7 PM UK time with 2 sessions for the LMP2 and GT3 categories and 2 sessions for the Hypercar qualifications. James Collado, 31 years old, British driver as well. Looking at the 311 Cadillac getting sideways there and having to abort. I think that's at the Michelin chicane. Yeah, it is. On board with the Cadillac Welland. Just a bit squiggly there. What do you want? As we see a flock of cars coming together on the Molson Straight. Very, very long straight. So this is the last practice session in the daytime. If you don't want to include the warm-up, this is the last full practice session in the daytime. Then we got free practice 4 tonight after Hyperpole. And then after that, we've got the warm-up on Saturday and then the race. No track action for the main 24-hour Le Mans cars tomorrow, except from the Road to Le Mans, the Porsche cars that are racing here. We almost had a delay to the start of FP3 because there was an incident in the earlier Porsche Challenge race. There was a red flag and they brought out a hydrogen powered car doing a demo lap. However, the delay was removed and we did start at the 1:45 PM UK time mark. Now, last night we had qualifying for the Hyperpole, that is after this session. Now, the big news coming into today's action was the disqualification of the number 6 Porsche car being disqualified from last night's qualifying. Now, the car was found to be under the weight limit rules. So that is big. And just as we said that, the number 5 Porsche has taken the lead of this session. So last night there was also a pretty heavy thunderstorm that went on into this morning. So that will have washed a lot of rubber off track for this session. So while we're talking about yesterday, bit of a mixed bag for Toyota. Lost one car from the Hyperpole cut-off in qualifying. The number 8 had a tangle in the FP2 session in the evening. However, the news on the latter incident was positive from the Toyota camp this morning when we spoke. Well, when Crash.net spoke to Brendan Hartley, said we had a little hiccup with Ryo Hirokawa at the end of FP2 yesterday. Good news is most of the parts were not the race parts, so they were anyway going to get changed for today. We're on board with Robin France now, coming down Mawson Straight, just getting past one of the slower LMGT3 cars. And we're into 7th gear now, reaching speeds of 325 kilometers an hour just before you get on the brake. The second chicane. So 34 minutes left of the session on our screens for you. And in the last few moments, the Porsche Penske, going top of the times. Number 5. Now, we were seeing in Hyperpole qualifying yesterday, times going quicker than last year's Hyperpole results. We had times in the 1 minute 22.8. And compared to Hyperpole pole from 2024, that lap time was a 3 minute 24.3. Of course, it's a very long lap here at Le Mans, 13.8 kilometers, and throughout the whole race you'll see just about 310 laps somewhere approximately along that timeline being completed. If you add together all the stoppages with safety cars, slow zones, red flags, there's a lot of those to come, and it's such a long lap. The virtual safety cars are more like slow zones. So if you look at F1, which this weekend is the Canadian Grand Prix, they have virtual safety cars where drivers must reduce their pace by 25%. Now there's a system in place in some points on the track, on this Le Mans track, where the cars will be limited to a certain speed to adhere to this slow zone. And looks like there's going to be a driver change in one of the BMW Team WRTs. I think it's the number 15. Has just come in, and it's going to be a driver swap. Yes, it is. It's the number 15, currently 7th in the Hypercar. Good thing about these WRC cars, you don't really get anywhere else. There's an electronic screen on the side of them, which shows the drivers, teams, and fans alike how long that car has spent in the pit lane. And yes, it is the number 15. That is changing. And Van Thor was in there. And now it's Kevin Magnussen in the car. So the Danish Kevin Magnussen will take the lead there in the number 15 BMW BRT. And they came in with Dries Van Thor in the BMW M Hybrid V8. And when they're going to leave the pit lane, we'll tell you when they do. Most laps done in this session is done by the number 51 Ferrari Corsa, which currently has James Collado in it. 36 laps completed in session. Also, Brendan Hartley and the number 11 Toyota Gazoo racing car doing 36 laps as well. Don't see any more than that. No, there's not any more than that. And car 60 has a 5 minutes stop and go due to track limits. And car 60 is, I believe, in the LMP2 car class, sorry. Let's just check that for you now. So 5 minutes stop go for them, and It's the Iron Lynx car in the LMGT3 category, and the Mercedes-AMG LMGT3, an Italian-based team with two British drivers of Javier Torrosa and Laurent Hanafin, and a Spanish of Fran Ruda. The number 60 there, with a 5-minute stop and go. So, considering we've got 30 minutes to go, that will reduce track time by quite a bit, which is not what they want, to say the least. So tomorrow, in terms of track action, there's not much. Later tonight, we've got Hyperpole getting underway, all times British times, 7 p.m. to 7:20 p.m. for Hyperpole 1 for the LMP2, LMGT3 categories. Then the same categories, but Hyperpole 2 from 7:35 p.m. to 8:50 p.m. Then after that, at 8:05 p.m. to 8:25 p.m, Hyperpole 1 for the Hypercars, and then for the Hypercars again, Hyperpole 2 from 8:40 p.m. to 8:55 p.m. And then they'll have a little ceremony, and then after that ceremony, from 10 p.m. UK time to 11 p.m. UK time, free practice 4, the last bit of night warm-up they'll get before the 24 hours of Le Mans. And then tomorrow, these are UK times 8:30 a.m. to 9:15 a.m. for race 2 of the Porsche Sprint Challenge, which we saw before practice 3 today. And then race 1 for the Ford Mustang Challenge from 10 a.m. till, it says 10:15 a.m. I think there's something wrong there. Maybe 11. 10:15 a.m. They're doing a 22-hour race. I think there's something wrong there. I think that's meant to say 12:15 a.m. Nevertheless, it's race 1 in the Ford Mustang Challenge getting underway at 10 a.m. UK time. Then on Saturday, race 2. Looks like it should be a 45-minute race, so we'll have to see when that actually happens. Race 2 for the Ford Mustang Challenge starts off Saturday at 7:45 a.m. UK time to 8:30 a.m. UK time. Then race 2 for the Road to Le Mans at 9:05 a.m. till 10:05 a.m. Then the warm-up gets underway at 11 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. Then, after the grid walk, it's the 93rd 24 Hours of Le Mans start, and it gets underway at 3 p.m. UK time, and you can listen to the start finish here on FT Sport, and throughout the night we'll be bringing you live timing coverage unlike any other. Just cleaning up the 009 car as they're getting a driver swap there for the 15th placed Aston Martin, which would see them, if it was Hyperpole qualifying yesterday, advance to today's Hyperpole. Yesterday, like we said earlier, they did really struggle in Hyperpole qualifying, did Aston Martin. Especially the team with Thicknell in it not doing that well. Thicknell was in the car the whole session. That was the 007, and we've got a full course yellow here, which means the whole track slows down. So the action just pauses for a second. So we have a full course yellow, 25 minutes to go. I'm pretty certain this is just a test of the system. And just as we said that, we have got confirmation that the full course yellow will end in a few moments' time. So yes, this is just a test. So let's tell you the top 5 by class. The 5, 51, 38, 83 and 20 leading hypercars. Then in the LMP2, it's the TDS, United, Inter Europol, United in the AO by TF cars. And then in the LMGT3, the 92 monthly, the 78 Acodis AFP, the 27 Heart of Racing, the 59 United car, and the 54 Vista AF car. The top 5 by class in this free practice 3. So flag testing ongoing as we speak. And here we go. So countdown to the end of the full Courcello then. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and green flag. Back under racing, good jump by the 50 Ferrari AF course. And maybe going for a move down into the chicane and gets through. And so does the number 6. We're seeing a little bit of a race going on here, which is what we love to see here in FP3. Especially on a Thursday, the race on a Saturday. And it will be definitely very something fun to watch. Other motorsport ongoing this weekend, including MotoGP, Formula 1. And we'll tell you about it now. Well, we got loads of stuff. We got the 24 hours of Le Mans. Got the Canadian Grand Prix, which is actually after this. After the whole race, considering it starts 7 p.m. UK time on Sunday, the race will end at 3 p.m. UK time, so you couldn't have timed it much better. NASCAR go racing in Mexico this weekend. So does the Xfinity Series as well. No Truck Series this weekend. The World Superbikes are racing in Misano this weekend. Then IndyCar and Indy NXT are at Madison and Gateway. And F1 Academy are in Montreal along with the F1 this weekend. So a lot of motorsport action coming your way this weekend. And then next weekend, the Intercontinental GT Challenge, 24 hours in Nuremberg get underway, and then 24 hours of Spa the week after. We are very spoilt for choice over the next 3 weeks in terms of endurance races. Triple header of the Le Mans, Nürburgring and the Spa 24-hour races. It is set to be a fun one, and we just can't wait for them, to say the least. Now, earlier this weekend, well, not this weekend, earlier this week, Iron Dames driver Michelle Gatting had a freak pit lane accident during the Le Mans 24 hours test day that left her with a broken foot and unable to race. She was due to be the gold-rated driver among the all-female Iron Dames Porsche 911 GT3R lineup, but now will be replaced by silver-graded Sarah Bovey, who stepped away from competing in the World Endurance Championship this season. Now, Gatting revealed herself that what was supposed to be a regular driver change turned into a disaster amid a congested pit lane following a red flag. Gatting told Autosport it didn't park correctly because we had the sister car in front and we had the Alpine right behind, so I knew the parking position was a bit off. We had to put the car up on skates, we had to move it a bit. We did all the procedures in a very easy, calm way. There was no stress from anyone. When I went out the car, I saw Rachel Frey was not next to me to do the driver change, so I looked around for her, and in that moment, unfortunately, the team dropped the car and it landed on my foot. It was pure bad luck, nobody to blame. I've done hundreds, if not thousands, of driver changes in my career. I've done most of them together with Rahel, so it's just a very unlucky bad situation. I've spoken to a lot of drivers in the paddock that when it happened to them before, some of them, it just landed on their toe, but unfortunately, really the chassis that hit right in the middle of my foot, and it broke my foot in 3 places. Gatting did say that she tried to convince the team that she could still drive, but they're not convinced. Team boss Bovey has been drafted in to share the LMGT3 Porsche with Frey and Celia Mountain. The Dane added she was particularly devastated to miss out on this year's race because of new motivation she had following the team switch to Porsche machinery this year, having tackled the 2024 edition with a Lamborghini Huracan. Being a newly signed Porsche driver, I knew I was going to Le Mans with the best Porsche team, so you could go to Le Mans with it, so it kept me motivated to be extra prepared. She added, try to become as light as possible, and I've never been lighter going into this Le Mans. I was really ready for this one, so for sure it hurts even more, she said. Today when I woke up, I realised I lost a huge opportunity. I'm missing a big chance. Last year, the Einsdane finished 5th in class. And Gaten admitted, I don't know if I could get over missing out should the team secure a top result this time round. She's targeting a return to action at the Imola round of the European Le Mans Series, which takes place on the 6th of July. Gatting, Bovey and Martin currently head the European Le Mans Series LMGT3 standings, and she is determined to continue to fight for the title. So 18 minutes to go here in FP3 for the Le Mans 24 hours. The last day practice session before the race on Saturday, but you do have warm-up as well, but it's really 15 minutes. You can only really get 2-3 laps done in the space of the time it takes you to come out, do the laps. Probably you could do actually a bit more than that. Max you could do 5, but you can't really do 5, so yeah, somewhere along 3. If you push, you could get 4 in. Driver change in the number 50 Ferrari, of course. They've dropped down the order the past few moments. Foucault getting out of the car. And doing full change of tyres in that Ferrari car now. So, overall leaders then, the number 5 Porsche, the number 51 Ferrari, and the number 38 Cadillac. Jamie Chadwick's in the number 18 IDEX Sport as it currently stands. And the number 18 currently in 15th place in the LMP2 category. It's a first race in the WEC. Jamie Chadwick, 27 years old. Never raced in WEC before. Used to race in the W Series when that was a thing. The F1 Academy Series, which, like we said earlier, racing this weekend in Montreal. So she has that experience. One of the best women to do it as well. So 16 minutes to go. And leading the LMP2 category, the number 29 TDS Racing, the number 23 United, the number 43 Inter Europol, then the number 22 United in P4. And the TDS Racing and the United cars that are currently P1 and 2, both in the Pro-Am category, along with the P5 AO by TF car, again in the Pro-Am category. So, it started off at 1:45 PM UK time. We've been here for 2 hours and 30 minutes. 2 hours and 45 minutes, sorry. Already of a 3-hour session, which we have reached the final 15 minutes of here at Le Mans. A few red flags in the early part of the session. One at got a green flag going with 70 minutes to go in the session. However, it's alright, we are back underway. We've been back underway for actually quite a while. Looking at the number 9, the P9, of course, car 2.4 seconds off the leaders. In the LMP2, best time LMP2 is a 3:36.827, which of course you won't see the same lap times you saw in Hyperpole qualifying yesterday. Definitely won't be the same times you see in Hyperpole following FP3. And then after Hyperpole, FP4. But here's how our coverage is going to work on actual race day. We'll have the start of the race coverage from 3 PM UK time. The race gets underway at 3 PM. We'll be on before that, bringing you build up to the 93rd 24 hours of Le Mans. We'll have coverage for the start of the race. Then in the night, we'll have live timing for you throughout the whole of the night in Le Mans. And then we will get the final few hours or so of Le Mans as the finish line is reached. And maybe by then we'll maybe see who is favoured to win the race. Or will there be late scenes at Le Mans? Or will we see early scenes and it be decided after then? You won't know, you'll only see once the 24 hours begin. That begins this Saturday at 3 PM UK time, 4 PM local time in France. And it's set to be a thrilling one. The fastest Le Mans yet, especially in the Hypercar division. Not long since these Hypercars were added to the WEC. minutes 40 to go then. And we're looking at a replay from the LMP2. Oh, and it was smoking brakes for the 28 IDEX Sport and the wheel came off. Oh my, that is bizarre. The number 28 IDEX Sport, which is in the pit lane now, wheel came off in the middle of Sector 3. What happened there? Well, the other IDEX Sport's safe and it's fine. But the 28 was in the middle of the third sector and coming round just before the pit lane entry. The wheel popped off, so good stuff that was close to the pit lane, or else we were either going to see a virtual safety car slow zone or a red flag at the end of this session. But the 28 lost a wheel. Bizarre. We saw it smoking, and I thought it was just brakes, but turns out the wheel just decided to say goodbye. Well, at least everyone's safe, and everyone is sound. And with 11 minutes to go, we should be fine for the rest of the session. Some cars coming into the pit lane now and know that if they come out now, they'll have 2 more laps. So, is there really a point of going out? Yes, if you want the extra practice, but maybe not. Prepare for a slow zone. That is coming up very shortly because that wheel's there. So I'll read that out. Oh no, I won't read that out. So the yellow flag's out. The slow zone is about to come because there's a car, the 28, that lost a wheel there. And the wheel is out on track, and there you go. The slow zone is in effect throughout the last few marshal posts. Remarkable there. And the marshals, just with a slight jog, will get the we'll retrieve it, put it behind the barrier, and we'll be set to go for the last 10 minutes. So the top 5 by class in the Hypercar. The number 5 Porsche, the number 51 of the Ferrari in P2, then the P3, the number 38 Cadillac, and P4, the number 83 F Corsa, the number 5 BMW M-Team WRT, then the LMP2 category, the number 29 TDS Racing in P1, the 23 United in P2, the 43 Inter Europol in third, then the 22 United car in P4, the number 5, the AO by TF in P5, then the LMGT3, 92 Porsche Manthe in P1, then the 78 Lexus Codis AFP in P2, the Aston Martin 27 Heart of Racing car in P3, the Aston Martin number 10 RSL car in P4, and the number 59 McLaren United car in P5. With just under 9 minutes to go here in FP3, so we still got the slow zone out. Only towards the final section of the lap. And that should be going in soon, so we should be alright in the next few moments. And there you go, so the slow zone is just about to be removed, I believe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and yes, it has gone away. So we are back under green flag conditions here at Le Mans for the final practice session. We started off with a 3-hour timer. It's whittled down to 7, and you can see the progress bar on the on-screen graphics has definitely gone down. So far, you almost can't see it. So the slow zone was removed at marshal post number 29, and between marshal post 30. That's how they use to distinguish the track. They also have to have a lot of webcams around the track because it's so long, 13.8 kilometers to be exact, that you have to have so much so the FIA or whoever actually marshal the 24 hours have to use that as a signal to see right where a car's stopped. What are they doing? That's how they set it out. And if you are joining us, we will have more coverage from the Mans 24 hours later this weekend. So if you want to subscribe and know when we're live, make sure to do that, because we've got coverage from the 24-hour race on Saturday and Sunday. Of course, it goes through 2 days. So category leaders at the moment, the number 5 in the Hypercar, number 29 in the LMP2, and then in the LMGT3, the number 92 Porsche. And the news that McLaren are leaving Formula E next season to focus on the WEC. Set to be interesting. They do have a few cars in the LMGT3 category, some in the LMP2, none in the Hypercar category, which they will be focusing on. As we see the 92 first form enter Sector 3 now. Currently in the car, the Dutch are Let's replay from the Hypercar category now. Oh, a very slow Hypercar. gone onto the grass. I think it's the number 38 Cadillac Hertz team. Yeah, it is the number 38 Cadillac that moved out of the way and then got on the grass and had a little bit of a snap. Bit of a tetchy moment, nearly went into an oncoming LMP2 car. Sorry, Hypercar. About to say, why is a LMP2 overtaking a Hypercar there? Why are they letting them by? 13 second. Well, not even that. Maybe even. No, it's 14 second. The difference between the lap times at the moment between the LMP2s and the Hypercars. Wasn't that long ago when said that Hypercars, it was the LMP1s, the LMP2 and the GT3s. Sorry, the GTEs and the GT3s. Had about 4 classes running. Reduced to 3, but we still get the same amount of action that you get in a Le Mans race, maybe even more. So 4 minutes to go. Here in free practice 3. Overall leaders in the Hypercar, the number 5 Porsche, the number 12 Cadillac, which has moved there in the last few moments, and the number 51 Ferrari, which was P1 at the when we were on air to start the on-air coverage here on FD Sport, has moved down to P3. Jaleel on board now in the 95 United Autosports McLaren LMGT3 car, currently finds themselves in P8 and going a bit wide there, getting a bit of the gravel. We exit as we enter Sector 3. And Sean Jaleel, 28 years old, 4 wins, 14 podiums, his best result P1 in his WEC career. In Le Mans, 2 podiums, his best result second. No wins on the board for him yet. He's on the radio, but we can't hear him. There you go. He says a little bit fast into both chicanes there, Sean. Just bring it back a little bit and prep the exit. One of the movies actually based on this race, the new, well, I would say new, but it's been out for a while, the Gran Turismo movie, new to Netflix. If you get a chance, watch it. It's a story about how a gamer, based on a real life story, of how a gamer was able to compete in the 24 hours of Le Mans. It's very interesting, to say the least. You should watch it. We're on board with the 12, which we just said moved into P2 in the last few moments. 2 minutes to go. The last lap's beginning now. If you cross the line now, it's your definite last lap. So 1 minute 40 to go there in 3 practice 3. And the number 5 Porsche is in the pit lane, so we know they won't be back on track, to say the least. We'll bring you results fully after this session, and we'll have a lot to read out because there's so many cars in this session. So now down to the final minute, the 83 AF Corsa Ferrari, that's in P5, also in the pit lane, along with P18 and P19 Cadillac and Proton cars, both in the pit lane, both Cadillac and Porsche respectively. No one else in the Hypercar division in the pit lane except from those 4. See the 51 Ferrari AF, 9 tenths off the best Hypercar lap time, which is a 3 minute 24.7. They're definitely not going fast as they raise the car during practice. They're able to lower the car though during qualifying. So Collado, I don't think we'll be able. No, I don't think he's going to get to the line in time. No, he won't get to the line in time, considering there's 10 seconds left and he's not got up to the Porsche curbs. So that will do, but he will be the first car to cross the line in the Hypercar division, and just does it now. And the checker flag is out, which means the free practice 3 comes to an end, and that is the final session here at Le Mans that these cars will get before we go racing for 24 hours. It's not that much of a deal. It's only 24 hours long. So I'll bring you the full results when and if we will get them when we get them. Just obviously some cars crossing the line. The 29 TS Racing topping the LMP2 category. Good for them. And just a reminder, while you're still here, if you're still here, listening to commentary and the FP3 session, we have got live coverage for 24 hours this weekend. All you need to do is subscribe and keep an ear out to when we go live. We'll definitely be live for the start and the finish, and we'll be live through the night, bringing you live timing of that. The 27 Heart of Racing team topping the LMGT3 side of things. Many onboards you can see though of these cars. So as the cars cross the line, let's tell you the results from this session. The Porsche Penske team find themselves on top in the Hypercar category. The 38 Cadillac car in P2, then the 12 the other Cadillac in P3. 38 able to advance into the top 3 in the late stages of that session. Then the 51 Ferrari AF in P4, the 83 AF Corsa in P5, the 20 BMW M Team WRT in P8, the number 4 Porsche in P7, the 311 Cadillac in P8, the P9 number 50 Ferrari, then in P10 the number 15 BMW M Team WRT, then in P11 the number 7 Toyota Gazoo, in P12 the number 6 Porsche, in P13 the 009 Aston Martin, in P14 the number 8 Toyota Gazoo, in P15 the number 36 Alpine, the number 007 Aston Martin in P16, the number 94 in P17, the number 101 Cadillac in P18, the number 19, the P1999 Proton Porsche in P19, in P20, the number 35 Alpine in P21, the number 93. Then you move on to the LMP2 category, and topping that session, the number 29 TDS Racing, the 23 United car, following behind. That does it though for coverage of FP3. We will have live coverage though on Sunday of the race, the start, the finish, and throughout the night. We'll have live commentary from the start, finish, and live timing throughout the night. However though, it is set to be the quickest Le Mans 24 hours in history. It's all going to be decided though on Sunday. Make sure you join us then from us here in Le Mans on a Thursday. We say see you later, enjoy the rest of your evening, and goodbye.